Hello everyone and welcome back to Optimize FPL. We're going to be taking a look back on Gameweek 31 and looking forward to Gameweek 32 and looking at some predicted scores and some transfer plans for the new game weeks that came out recently. Let's get into it. So starting with the team on screen, we did pretty well, 54 points from a 60 point predicted, so pretty close to prediction, slightly under, but it is what it is. I think that probably is because Trent Alexander-Arnold did not end up playing, but our defense was still absolutely 100% the big part of this team, and something I probably should invest even more money into, looking at the scores and how the Premier League's been going so far. Robertson, Rudiger both getting 6 points, very decent. Matthew Doherty getting 14 points for us, very decent. That game was great for us, for Tottenham. Other than the fact that Son did so well, I mean, that was a bit unfortunate, but overall our Spurs boys did pretty well. I think overall we still made more than we lost from the Spurs game. It was great to watch. That Newcastle team looks absolutely atrocious. In defense, Dubravka and Ramsdale both started, which was nice, but unfortunately Dubravka only got 0 points and Ramsdale got 1 point. So it was. I didn't want to use a transfer on my goalkeepers. I'm happy I did in the end, but it definitely could have gone bad for me pretty easily. Coutinho coming off my bench for Trent. I guess Trent's still not quite ready for the game, so hopefully he's back for Man City. But if not, it's not a big deal. We have a deep bench, so it won't hurt us too much. And it's Man City, so you don't really want a lot of people playing against Man City away. It's not an easy game to play. Salah captain, pretty disappointing considering he's playing Watford. He had like a 9 points projected by Fantasy Football Hub, so pretty disappointing that he got only 3 points. But Salah, he's been having a hard time since he got back from AFCON. At least that's what it seems like to me. He's only scored like 1 or 2 goals from open play, and he's just not looked like he's been on a lot of form. I'm not one of the people that are thinking sell Salah. I think that's a little bit too much of an extreme, but other captaincy choices, especially during double game weeks, could be very, very optimal and understood. Like I said before, Kulusevski did very well, got an assist in the game. Rafinha also getting an assist. I believe his assist was from a free kick, but I might be mistaken. That might have been somebody else, but I can't really remember Leicester's or Leeds game. Sorry, but happy he got the points. Martinelli getting benched, which I was surprised by Smith Rowe, coming on at halftime because they were getting absolutely smoked by Crystal Palace, which I love to see as a Tottenham fan. Hoping that they can push for the top four. I think it's really going to help my team, the fact that 5 of my players are all fighting for something, at least. Leeds and Burnley also are fighting for something to make sure they don't land in last place or in the relegation zone. And all my Liverpool players are also fighting for something, but I think that's really important to have at the end of the season is to have players that are fighting for something. They want to make sure that they're doing well, keeping up with their respected colleagues, and making sure that they stay in the positions or get into a new position in the table. Speaking of players that were fighting for something, Burnley, Weghorst, crazy game against Everton. Ended up winning 3-2. Unfortunately, Weghorst was not on any of the points, but it was a great game to watch. I'm definitely worried about Weghorst. I think he's okay to hold for now, especially considering he's playing Norwich next week. I think it was like a decent transfer, but I think this definitely could be seen as one of the more poor transfers I made this season and decisions. He's probably not worth the 6.4 that I paid for him. He's probably someone I should ship off, but I think that just because of things I want to do in the future, he might just have to stick around for the rest of the season, if not get shipped out in Game Week 36. But I'll show you some of my transfer plans in a few moments. So with these points, we see a rank increase to 1,512, which is pretty decent, about 200 places up, which is nice. I would love to be able to finish in the top 1,000. It's looking more difficult every single day, especially considering that I thought the team did pretty well and I only went up 200 points or 200 places. And as we'll see on live FPL right now, our safety score for this week was 52 points. So if we got anything less than 52 points, we would have actually gone down the ranks. And 2 points took us up 200 places. So it's going to be really tough to get up the ranks. I think I'm going to need a lot of saviors. Like Doherty this week was an absolute revelation for my team. Salah definitely hurt. I think captaining Kane could have been a good idea. It was definitely something that was on my mind, but ended up not going with because it's Watford at home. It should be an easy win for them. But yeah, it was overall a decent game week. Son definitely hurting my rank with that 5 point or 4.5 point loss there. Um, yeah, scary times. So as we can see here, looking at our team ratings, it's a very template team, which I think is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. I think that's going to definitely solidify our place, and hopefully we don't have to make too many differential choices to try to gain rank. As we can see, we gained about 11% in rank. We have pretty light money put into our midfield and a lot put into our defense, which I think is going to be good for the rest of the season. I think that's exactly what we want. Um, Going big in defense seems to be the best strategy so far this entire year, to be honest. It seems like the defense has been something that we should be investing in a lot more, and probably will be next year. So I'm going to keep that in mind and yeah, use this information to hopefully make my team better. So some more information about the top 10K. I think this is really interesting stuff. Son, Saka, and Cancelo are really players that I'm going to have to keep an eye out for. In particularly Saka with 89 or 87% effective ownership. So that means if he gets any points, it's basically directly against me. It's a 1-for-1. So I have Martinelli covering him slightly, and I don't like to use the cover word because I think it's not adequate, and it's not right, but it's the best I can do right now because I can't get Saka. I just don't have the resources for that, and I just hope Martinelli can save me and keep Saka at bay. But yeah, for Man City, I have absolutely no cover whatsoever. Cancelo, if he gets any points, it's completely against me. Robertson has to keep up with Cancelo, and if he doesn't, then I'm net losing because that's basically my differential. Robertson is my Cancelo in this team. They're basically 1-for-1. They cost the same. They're just playing for different teams. So it's quickly transitioning over to Fantasy Football Hub. I wanted to look at the top 10 players for this game week coming up. I think it's just interesting to look at who's going to be doing really well this game week according to the statistics, and according to the Opta stats that they've used. Fernandez is the clear choice. He's the best player this game week, which doesn't surprise me considering Manchester United are playing. Yeah, considering I'm playing Everton, this is not that surprising. Everton have been pretty crap lately, and especially after that Burnley game, it's pretty understood that they are not the best team in the world. Rafinha next, which is nice. We have him. He's playing Watford. Son, Dennis, Kane. Surprised that Dennis is up there considering he was benched last week, but it is what it is. Same with King up there. I'm really surprised. I know Leeds are not a great team, but doesn't mean that they're gonna do well if they keep getting benched every week. And then they have Tony, Zaha, and Barnes. So these are players that we should definitely keep an eye out for. If we're looking at total for the rest of the season, then the players to look for apparently are Barnes, Iheanacho, Son, Salah, and Kane. I think this makes sense. The Barnes and Iheanachos because of the double game weeks that are coming up for them. They have lots of games to rearrange, and yeah, they got doubles in 33, 36, and I think they should have one more double, but that could be just me misremembering. But yeah, they have at least two doubles to come up. So some Leicester players are definitely players that we want to be looking at and targeting. Speaking of transfer plans, I'm going to quickly be going over my transfer plans for basically the end of the season. You can see them on the right, but I'm going to go through each team relatively quickly just to show you guys what I'm thinking for my teams and some of the transfers that I'm looking to target for the rest of the season. This is assuming that none of the fixtures get changed and there's no fixtures added. So for this week, I'm doing a pretty simple transfer of Dubravka to Foster. I just don't really have a transfer this week I want to do. There's nothing that really sticks out to me. I don't think that. I know having triple Liverpool against Man City is probably not great. I might bench Robertson for Kilman to mitigate my risk a little bit, but honestly, there's just not a lot of transfers I want to do here. Like, you want to bring a Man City player in, who are you bringing in? And they're playing Liverpool at home. Like, that's still not a good fixture. All my other players are playing relatively easy or weaker teams. Martinelli, I'm a little worried about getting benched, but again, Coutinho against Tottenham is not the worst one, and if I do play Robertson against Man City, then Kilman against Newcastle is also not a bad fixture. So there's really no fixtures I want. There's nothing I want to target, especially players who are going to be doubling in 36. I don't have any players that I'm looking at for this game week to bring in that are going to adequately help my team in the future. So this is what Game Week 33 looks like for my team. I'm going to be free hitting this team, so completely ignore it. I will bring out a free hit video for 33 soon. So this right here is going to be an interesting week. This is Game Week 34. Very interesting. Not exactly sure what I'm going to do with all my players. I'm not sure if this is the team I'm going to line up with, but it's probably the team I'm going to line up with. I don't think I'm going to make any transfers. I'm going to have to play Ramsdale against Manchester United at home, which is not a great one, but it's definitely better than Foster against Manchester City away. Yeah, we got Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold in the wrong position for some reason. He should be in the defense. I love when the website does this. But yeah, he's got Alexander-Arnold in the midfield. Yeah, and we're not going to be the captaincy stuff. Please ignore that as well. It's going to be Salah against Everton. That's a derby match. It's going to be great. I think that Salah is going to probably get back to form then, hopefully. And yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to probably bench two of our forwards and Weghorst and Broja, but that's not a big deal because they're pretty cheap players anyways. So unfortunately, a lot of these transfers are pretty uninspiring. This actually might not be the time I bring in Madison. Now I look at it, I might bring. So my next two transfers are Rafinha to Madison, and then in Game Week 36, I'm bringing Kilman to Cash and Broya to Pookie. And I'll explain those two in a second. But I think actually, now that I look at it, I'm probably going to bring in Cash instead of Kilman in this game week and play him, and just have Rafinha on the bench. The reason I was going to bring in Madison is just because to have him on the bench against Tottenham. But now I'm looking at it, I'm going to bring in Cash, assuming I have the cash to bring him in for Kilman. And then the next week, so this helps me build my team for Game Week 36 bench boost. Every single player has a double game week except for Veghorst, and he's playing Aston Villa at home. It's not a great fixture, and I still am tinkering with the idea of taking a -4 to take Veghorst out of the team and bring in Cucho from Watford. I'm even considering bringing him in instead of Pookie instead of for Broya. So there's a lot of transfers here that could definitely happen. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with this team exactly, but this is like the rough idea of what I have leading up to it. I want Madison, I want Cash, and I want Foster as my goalkeeper. Okay, so in this game week, I'm bringing in Schmeichel for Ramsdale. The reason for that is just because he's got a double fixture, double game week, and he just Leicester's defense is hopefully going to be better by that time. I think that he's a good person to bring in, and I don't really have anybody else I want to take out of the team, so that's what I'm going to do. And then the final game week of the season, I'm going to be bringing in Foden for Coutinho because Man City play Aston Villa, and there's no real point in bringing in Coutinho. Um, so yeah, that's what the team is going to look like. Now, if there is a double game week for City in 33, I would not bring in Schmeichel. I would actually bring in Cancelo for Robertson, and I would take out, or sorry, I wouldn't take out Robertson. I would take out Trent Alexander-Arnold for Cancelo, and I'd take out Kulusevski for Foden. I'd take a -4. I think that's absolutely worth it for two more double game weekers, both from Man City, who both will probably play majority, if not all, the games, and who are players that are just absolutely fantastic on their day. Unfortunately, I have the exact amount of money for that right now, so if any players go up and down in value, that could become a problem. I'll have to find out different ideas. Maybe I still bring in Cash Recycle for Ramsdale. Probably still worth it, to be honest, and just take a -8 for this team in 37. And then in 38, I would still take out Coutinho, and I would try to bring in Havertz if I had the money. If I didn't have the money, I'd take Cash out for maybe like a bench fodder player, and then pull the money in for Havertz. I think that'd be worth it. But yeah, this is what my team looks like. There's a couple of different things that if the fixtures flow a certain way, there's a couple different diverting plans that can happen. But overall, I think this is the team that I'm going to be going with. I think this team makes the most sense. And yeah, I mean, if there's a Man City double in game week 36, that's also something I should probably take into note and try to take advantage of. But if there's no double game week for City, then there's no point in bringing in their assets. Okay, and to finish up, this is what the team is predicted to score this game week. 50 points, basically, not too bad. Ramsdale against Brighton should be a pretty good one. Ramsdale Martinelli, sorry, for Brighton. Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Salah all against Manchester City. Not an easy fixture whatsoever. Probably definitely hurting my team's predicted points, which I don't mind too much, honestly. Like the predicted points is always nice to have, but I like to beat my predicted points, and I think that this team will still beat my predicted points. I'm hoping that Manchester City and Liverpool probably end in a 0-0, if I'm totally honest. It has Rafinha captained. I'm not going to do that. Kane's captain for sure. Against Aston Villa, we got Kane, Kulusevski, Doherty. I'm hoping that we win that game. Hopefully 2 or 3-0. That'd be nice. And then Veghorst against Norwich and Rafinha against Watford. Those are some relegation scrapped boys. I think that Burnley kind of need to win this, and Norwich are basically already down. So I think Veghorst could hopefully get on the score sheet, and then Watford are they're pretty terrible too. So I'm hoping that Rafinha can take advantage of them. Okay, well, thanks everybody for watching and kind of going through my rambling thoughts for this game week. I know there's a lot to take in. The double game weeks have definitely given me a lot of more information to do with this team. Unfortunately, it's a pretty boring transfer this week, and there's not a lot I'm going to be doing. But Game Week 33, I'm really excited to talk about the free hit teams that I've made and what I think people should be aiming to do if they are going to free hit in Game Week 33. Thanks so much for watching. Please feel free to subscribe and leave any comments that you have about my team or your team or anything in between. Anyways, with that, I hope everyone has a good week, and cheers, everyone.